everybody, it's the Soap Man, and it's time to do some soap. I'm running desperately low on soap. Last Sunday was Easter, and I'm really busy. I'm a church organist, and there was a lot going on, as well as the Holy Week leading up to it. The previous week I had a lot going on, didn't get a chance to do it. I have 2 batches of soap. This is the Sunshine soap I made. It's ready to go. I'll be giving this out tomorrow, which is going to leave me down to 1 batch tomorrow morning. This is the buttermilk soap I made. Remember, the dark is colored with cocoa powder, and this sort of peachy dark yellow is colored with baby carrot puree. If you remember when I cut this, I told you I'd show you later because I was so disappointed at how light it is. Once it dried, look how nice and dark it got. I love it. I've used both of these. So when I'm running low on soap, that generally means I need to do some hot process, because you know, hot process technically, as soon as it's cooled down, you can cut it and use it, although it's recommended to wait a couple of weeks. And this is what's going to happen. So I got some cooking here. I'm right at this applesauce stage. I'm going to have to really watch this, or it's going to start to fluff over the top. So I might have to stop what I'm doing right in the middle and come and stir this. Bear with me, and we'll try and do both of these at the same time. But I'm at that applesauce stage right now. I'm using Brambleberry's Applejack peel for the scent oil. Brambleberry just goes ahead and says that this misbehaves, and you got to be careful with it. You got to keep your temps low because it accelerates trace, and if you get it too hot, it will rise. My thought, I may end up running this batch of soap, my thought is because it's not cold processed soap, it's not going in a hot caustic environment with lye in it, I'm thinking it's going to be okay. So we're going to see what happens. I'm using these embeds. Recognize these? Here we are. Recognize these from a previous batch of soap. So I'm going to put those, the Applejack peel, in my hot process, put it in my column mold. It'll be ready. I'm also doing, in this batch, I'm doing cold process, cold process, oven process. That's where you basically make cold process soap, and you put it in a hot, or a warm oven, I should say, 170 degrees. Leave it at that 170 degrees for an hour. Turn it off and leave it overnight. And that essentially is the same thing as doing hot process, because the oven keeps your soap nice and warm, forces that really hot gel phase, and it does not have that long cure time. So technically I'm making cold process soap right now, but I'm going to put it in the oven, which is going to do basically the same thing as hot process. So here we go. I'm going to watch that. Mix my oil and lye together, get a light emulsification. I have 4 colors. That's my apple sage scent, black oxide, titanium dioxide, ultramarine blue, and electric bubblegum pink. I'm going to do them in those orders. Put them in here in my divider. Pull this out and do. I've heard it called a Taiwan swirl. I've heard it called a mantra swirl. Anyway, whatever you want to call it, that's what I'm going to be doing. So let me stir my hot process real quick. It's starting to cook. It's starting to take on that mashed potato phase. It's gotten beyond the applesauce, which is good, which means it's starting to cook and turn into soap. So bear with me just a minute while I stir this, as it's turning into the mashed potato phase. Alright, here we go. Let's make a little bit of noise. Stick blend this, get a light emulsification, split it into 4 cups. Color it, scent it, pour it. Alright, here we go. I'll post both of these recipes in the description box. I'm soaping right here on the cold process. I'm doing it about 120. Generally, you might want it a little cooler for this design, because you want to keep these thin. Taking a little bit of a chance, but we'll see. But I also have my hanger tool ready just in case it gets too thick, and I'll just do a hanger swirl out of it. Okay, that's about all I'm going to do, because I'll do a little bit more when I get them in the cups. Alright. Get 4 of these, get them all where I can see the markings. They don't have to be 100% exact, just as long as they're close. It always works out just right. But usually with this batch, if I get it up to about the pea, potato salad, it works. Alright, I'm going to have a little bit more, so I'm going to go just a little bit higher in each one. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but my hot process over here is really bubbling nicely. Alright, good enough. Let me stir my hot process. See, when you saw this earlier, it looked like applesauce. Now it's taking that mashed potato phase, just doing really nice. Really pleased with it. Looking good. It's actually, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's starting to look sort of Vaseline, which means it's starting to cook. It's starting to gel, which is good. That's what we want it to do. Let's get back over here, get the stick going. No, I'm not quite finished with it. Oh, yes I am. Yes I am. That's already as thick as I want it. Probably too thick, I think it is. That's why it's always important to have an alternate plan, because this is going to be too thick to do what I wanted. It's alright, that's why we do this. That's why I always have a backup plan. Well, maybe it's not, maybe it's not. Should have done the light first. See, I've gotten sidetracked. I'm thinking it's not going to work. I've gotten sidetracked. It's generally best to do your lightest color first. You don't want to clean these in between. Go to my pink. Stirring is breaking it up a little bit. Blue. Do my black again. Oh, I think this might work after all. We're going to see. Alright, I'm going to pour them in this order. So I'm going to start with the outsides. Get a little bit in the centers to equalize the pressure. And I'm sorry you're out of the picture. I'm sorry about that, folks. Going on here at once and oh shoot. That outside, these are the insides. More on the outer parts. Get some more on the inner parts. Okay, now the rest of this is going to go in my mold, my muffin mold. Okay, let me set those aside and get this out. I don't know if you noticed or not, but I lined this, even though it's a silicone mold. I didn't line the ends here, but the sides and the bottom are lined with parchment paper. When you do this, the hot process and the cold process, and you put it in the oven, it gets hot, that really hot gel phase, and in a silicone mold, it starts to boil on the sides and leaves pit marks. Doesn't hurt anything, but doesn't really make your soap look very good. So that's why I have this one lined. So, I'm going to go ahead and pull my divider out. And I'm thinking I'm going to leave this just like it is. I'm not going to swirl anything. Pull out the whole piece all at once. Maybe I will. Take my hanger swirl instead. I got this too hot. I was afraid I was. So put my hanger tool in. There you go. I'm going to run upstairs and put this in the oven. And I'll be back and we'll do this hot process. Bear with me just one moment, folks. I will be back. Have you ever wanted to watch my process soap cook? Here you go. Just give me one moment to put this in the oven upstairs. Alright, that one's in the oven. It's going to stay there on a 170 degree oven for 1 hour. Then I will turn the oven off and just let it sit in there overnight. Alright, my hot process is just about ready. But let's get this. I was always told to do this at a cool temp. I should have listened. Because the warmer temps with the scent oil, well behaving though it is, was just too much. Because it just got too thick on me. And I'm not 100% sure how well that scent oil is going to hold inside a hot oven, but we will see. It has a high flash point. And I realize a flash point refers to the point at which it will ignite, the vapor will ignite, but some people suggest and believe that it also, a higher flash point, means that it has a higher resistance to heat. And that apple sage has a very high flash point. It's over 200. The applejack peel that I'm putting in this has, I believe it's 176, so it has a pretty high flash point too. I'm just curious to see how it does in hot process, since it has no actual oils other than your super fat, and it has no active lye in it. I'm wondering how it will react. And I'm going to find out here real soon. Let's get this out of the way. I'll know the next time I do that. Follow everybody's suggestion and keep it cool. Okay, yep, this is cooked. Yep, nice and shiny. which means it has gone into gel phase and cooked into soap. And although it's gone into gel phase, it's soap, there shouldn't be any active lye in it, I still have my goggles on because, first of all, even your most gentle, nourishing bar of soap burns your eyes because it still has a high pH. And this has a high pH and it's very hot. And I made a mistake one time and took my goggles off and splashed some batter into my eye, and I've never had anything hurt so bad. So I still have my goggles on with this. Alright. Let me get this out of this hot crock. We'll go ahead. Just stir this for a minute. Let it start to cool just a little bit. I'm glad I was able to do this. With my digital camera, I can't record and pause and record and pause. So I can't really record doing hot processed soap because you don't want to watch it cook for a half an hour. But this way, I went ahead and got it emulsified, got it to that applesauce stage, and then started doing my other batch, and you can watch this cook as well. Alright. We'll put the scent in. This is going to smell really nice because it's nice and hot. And let's see if it starts to rise. Or if it mixes in well with this. So far, so good. Alright, we'll get these in. Stir it with my spoon, get it in the mold, let it cool, and we'll see what happens. Boy, it does smell good. I really smell the cinnamon in this. Alright, let's get this in this mold before it cools too much. I made a sample batch with this Applejack peel, and it smells so good, and it holds up so well in cold process. That's what I was really hoping it would work well in the hot process too, because it's just fantastic in cold process. It does accelerate just a little bit, like they say. That's all my log mold's going to hold. So I'm going to put the rest of this into my muffin mold. And this will be one that I'll use myself. Gosh, that is still hot. Boy, that crock is still hot. I'm not really too terribly concerned about how this one looks. It's really stiff and sticky. And this is one that I'm going to use myself, so I'm not really worried about it. But there you go. So, I have my cold process in the oven. It's becoming hot process in the oven. These are the pieces left over. I did my hot process. Doesn't look like a whole lot right there, but once I cut into it, it's going to look nice and hopefully smell nice. I'll post the cutting. Thanks for watching, everybody.